I've been asked to comment on the pending Supreme Court ruling whether same-sex marriage be declared a constitutional right, which would ultimately lead to the church losing its tax-exempt status. The state argues that same-sex couples have a constitutional right because it's integral to their human dignity, and any exclusion would demean the dignity of these couples. How do we understand this word, dignity? I remember correctly, the root meaning of dignitas in Latin is worthy. And worthiness has to deal often with the conduct of individuals. And we all innately recognize that. But if you want proof positive, when there's a trial at court and there's a defendant, if the defendant is found innocent, he maintains his dignity. If he's found guilty of some act and is punished, clearly he's lost his dignity in that act. We do know in the faith he can restore his dignity to repentance. So dignity is attached to the actions we do, and it's not integral to any one person aside from his activities. Now here we have a clear conflict between church and state. Legitimacy of the church is with God. Legitimacy of the state is with the people it governs. The church, unfortunately, at times in history, has faced instances where her authority has been jeopardized. I think of the Council of Nicaea in 325, when there was a great debate in the church over Arianism, and that was where many argued that Jesus Christ was not really truly man. How could God inhabit the human body, and still be equal to God the Father? Now, St. Athanasius argued what we hold today, that Jesus Christ is true God and true man. However, during the proceedings, Constantine I, who had certain sway over the council, banished Athanasius. Fortunately, Constantine II, who succeeded him, allowed Athanasius to come back to the council. And fortunately for us, our faith was preserved. But here we face the danger of state interfering with our beliefs. And that is the case today. What was the origin of this matter that the Supreme Court is ruling on? It was held yesterday. I believe it began with the Affordable Health Care Act, where all Americans, including the Catholic Church, were asked to cede all their authority to the government concerning health care, including what many we called reproductive rights. And sure enough, the year following that would be the year 2010, the church, to her shock, heard of the Human Services Health Care Act mandating that all employers, Catholics included, provide for their employees abortion and contraceptive services. Now, at that point, the Catholic Church loudly disagreed. But I think the argument could have been better directed had we explained and championed our beliefs in the sanctity of life. And I think that was an opportunity perhaps we lost. And so here we are today dealing with same-sex marriage. I think it becomes an opportune time again to champion the beauty and the sanctity of marriage, as well as our opposition to abortion and same-sex marriage, which ultimately ruin marriages. And we know it's a good part of divorce of Catholics as well as other people. If there would come to that matter that the church loses its tax-exempt status, it may actually be a boon to the church. And I would take it as a signal for the church to sever all her ties with the government and only concentrate her work with the salvation of souls. As you may know, that the church is a cooperator with the government and Catholic Charities, and in that manner we receive monies from the government. But with what obligation are entailed with that? And so I would recommend that we take this as an opportunity to strengthen the church, so that all would realize that our only and sole mission is the salvation of souls. And that would entail, for instance, not inviting presidential candidates to the Al Smith dinner. After all, they were dividing the people who he would serve. And then too, matters of St. Patrick's Day parades. If we have to include those who are opposed to the church, then do not have the parade. The church has its work in the salvation of souls. And that is our great hope. And so however this matter turns, there will be the will of God in it. Let us recognize His will, whatever the state decides on the matter of same-sex marriage.